Diddlin', diddlin', Kilted balls.
Balls.
Woo!
That's awesome.
Yeah,
You know
happy
what that remi-
Tuesday, peeps.
Yes, it is Tuesday. You know what us making this beautiful music together reminds me of?
What does it remind you?
I was once part of a drum circle, and it was pretty awesome.
You're part of a what?
Drum circle. So there's all these people playing instruments,
Yeah,
and I was invited, and I wasn't really sure, and I was like, okay, this could be cool. So we
yeah,
all had our own little drums, and it was mostly drums.
sure.
That's the definition. Some people had some other instrument, and you just play
And
however you
were there
want.
drums there?
There were drums there. It was
Okay.
actually inside, and it wasn't quite. It was kind of a circle, more of a square circle because of the shape of the room. But you're playing, and most of it just sounds like noise. But every now and then, it just like comes together, and it's just like it's a pretty awesome feeling.
That's kind
Like
of
great
legit, kind
music.
of legit.
But it's like for us, it's like that every time.
I was
Keeps
thinking
that
while we were
crescendo
doing
right
that,
away.
I know, right? I was thinking while we were doing it, I'm like, man, these are so cool. I wish we had like recorded these so I could go back and listen to
We have. I don't know if
them.
that we can do. What we need to do, we need to go and take each one and put it as a TikTok.
So let me tell you, that is not the dumbest thing I've thought of this week.
No, it's not. You thought of something dumber? I thought that was great.
I didn't talk about my uncaged post, did I?
Mm-mm.
So this is going to be on theme, by the way, for tonight.
Mhm.
Our theme tonight is about community. That's what we want to talk about. Different communities we're in with the NFT space. One of the things I've talked about that I love most about the space is the community. The overall NFT community. There's some bad players and there's some weirdos and there's people who are only thinking about money. But there's this community aspect to it that's completely different than anything else I've experienced, and I love it. Anywho, on Uncaged, do you remember way back in the early days of the Uncaged, before Mint, even pre-Mint, Uncaged? Like people would be on their server and they were grinding to get different levels to get whitelisted. Do you remember all that?
Yep.
And there was always this Nick Cage theme where they're like posting Nick Cage gifs over and over. You remember this action?
We remember that.
Oh my gosh. And I loved it. Like I was all in with that. I loved it. I was posting Nick Cage memes all the time, Nick Cage gifs. They talked about it all the time. Like they'd have town halls and be like, yeah, and we're a great fun-loving group with a weird obsession with Nick Cage. In the last town hall, they talked about how they were going to watch the new Nick Cage movie at the Uncaged Con. And I was like, ha, that's funny. Awesome. And I was writing to them in the group, and I was like, yeah, it's funny that the Uncaged is doing this. And here's the problem I had. Every time we've talked about them, every time we've posted about them, every time we've tweeted at them, it's been the 8.1.
Yes.
So its actual name is the 8.1, the Uncaged. I've always called them 8.1.
Yes.
Well, you notice I've changed now to call them the Uncaged, because as I'm typing them and saying, I love it, this stuff about Uncaged, I was like, oh, I'm like, holy shit. That's why we did Nick Cage, because we're the Uncaged.
Brilliant. That is awesome.
So like I was like, was on because Cagers are from Australia, so they're a little bit off of our time zone. So most of the time when everybody here is going to bed, they're waking up. So they were on, everybody else had gone to bed, and I was like, oh my gosh, guess what I just figured out? I'm like, ask me. And and I'm like tagging him, and I'm like shooting memes I was like, Nick Cage, like, guess what I figured out? And he like didn't answer. And then like the next morning, Panda, who's one of the founders, again, showing the power of these communities that you're sitting there chatting with founders. He's like, Ball, what the hell did you figure out? And I was like, it's Nick Cage. We're uncaged.
Was there even a reply?
Yeah, he's like crying, laughing. He's like, you might have just made my entire day. He goes, you made my whole like week.
That is awesome.
And then of course, Raging Nick gets on there and is like laughing, and a few of the other guys get on and are cracking up laughing. And I'm just like, oh, so this thinking we should record the theme music somewhere.
Yes.
The Uncaged might be worse.
Recording some theme music somewhere might be good. Might be.
Yeah.
That's
So
hilarious. I mean, there's definitely, I mean, and that's to segue a little bit. We're talking about the community, and it is awesome to be able to talk with people and just to be part of that. We've talked about that.
yes.
And another one that is almost similar, which you did bring up with the non-fungible miners, is that how they cut it. They were like, this is
Yes.
it, just like Uncaged did. And one thing that I've noticed in, like, I'm a new member of the Nonconformist Ducks.
Yes.
So if you remember a couple months ago, I found that duck. It was rated high. I felt was a low price for it, so I got it. And that was just before the Hell Ducks.
Yeah.
So I did go all in on the Hell Ducks as well. I'm like, this is because on Twitter, they have tons of action. A lot of people are talking and on there. I don't know if you noticed that too. I see it a lot, and even like the Lazy Lions. But one thing that I don't love, and I don't know if it's going to matter. I mean, it doesn't matter right now, but as far as the future is concerned, I don't know how much it's going to matter. I don't plan on. I mean, I didn't buy those to try to flip right away. The Hell Ducks, I was like, I might sell these down the road, but I'm going in. I was getting excited about trying to get a king or a queen because it was pretty late in the mint before they popped up.
Right.
As far as having a rare one. But so like the Nonconformist Ducks, 10,000 ducks, and there's 2,000 owners. That's what OpenSea says.
Okay.
So the Nonconformist Hell Ducks, there's 10,000 items and 1,400 owners. So it might be very excited group, but the duck to, like, yes, I might have a lot at 63, but there's a lot of people like me out there. If there's only 1,400 owners of the 10,000 ducks.
I was gonna say, so they sold out, but it's only 1,400 of you who have them.
Yeah. So I don't know, like, I see people talking about, oh, this is the greatest community. And it is. I mean, as far as that's concerned, the people are there. They're out when people are like, what's the best NFT? Like, I see ducks all the time. And it might be because I'm friends with those people, so they're coming up, but there's not a lot of them. So it just makes me wonder, like, as a comparison with the Uncaged, I mean, there's 932 items and there's 319 owners.
Right. So 33%.
Yeah.
Versus your 20% of the one, and the other one's worse.
Yeah. See, I don't know. I thought that was interesting. I thought that was something interesting to bring up. And I don't know your thoughts on it, or if you even look at that, like if you're getting into something and that looks interesting to you, does that matter to you?
Yeah, so I think it depends on what I'm talking about. So like the Uncaged, I am only in the Uncaged because of the community. I'm not I don't want to say delusional, but I'm not you guys have all heard me. I'm bearish on NFTs. I think NFTs eventually are going to zero,
Mhm.
right? I think you have to plan that way for the vast majority of them. And I'm not in that space because I think Nails is going to one day be selling for 10 ETH or 50 ETH. It might,
Mhm.
but I still wouldn't sell it. Like
Yeah,
that's
you're not in that line to do that.
I'm not in there to do that. And if it
Hmm.
did, okay, maybe you'd convince me to sell one of them,
Yeah.
right? But that's not the point. I'm in there because I think they're cool, right? I think Ruth is going to be cool. I think Sunny is cool. And really, I'm there because I love that community. Like
Mhm.
I really like that community, and I've talked about them on here. I've talked about them in my real life.
Mhm.
That community is what I want to be a part of.
Yeah.
And it's similar, though this was weird, is when I had my VFriend, I liked being part of the VFriend community, but the VFriend community was odd to me. Like I liked it, but it wasn't personal.
Yes, I agree. A lot
Whereas
of there.
Uncaged, yeah, and Uncaged is personal. Like
Mhm.
they know who we are. We're chatting with founders,
Mhm.
right? Could mess them something and they would help us out,
Mhm.
right? Like it's a very personal community there because it's a small number. VFriends
Yeah.
is so huge,
Yes.
you don't get that feel. The miners, it's really interesting you brought this up because this is kind of one of my experiences in life too. I really like the community that the miners are in. It's not very active right now. I'm
Yep.
hoping it'll get more active, but like I get on there each day and I say something, right? And I try to. But here's what I like about the miners, and this is going to be stereotypical, and I apologize to everybody for the stereotypes, but they exist for a reason. They help us categorize things. So with the 8.1, the Uncaged, they're creatives. There's not a developer in the bunch.
Yep.
There's maybe a business person, I don't know, but they're creatives through and through.
Yeah.
And you may say, so what does that mean? That means they're nice. Creatives, in my experience, for the most part, to be really sweet, nice people, or they're so jaded that they're, turn into psychopaths, right? But
That
they're,
does.
yes. But for the most part, when you meet a creative, they tend to be so nice and happy, and they're willing to do anything for you and bend over backwards.
Mhm.
The miners aren't that.
Yeah.
And so I really like the miners because they aren't that way, right?
Yeah.
So one of the great examples that I want to talk about actually is there was a person in the miners who like day one of mint pulled a one of one. I think there's been like 6 or 7 one of ones.
Okay.
They're all awesome. They pulled the ninja. They were the first one of one I saw. And
Okay.
they're like, oh my gosh, I got a ninja. And they had bought like 4 or 5, right? And they were like, I can't believe I got a one of one. They were like so excited about it. Everybody was excited. They were jealous. It was super sweet. It was a
Mhm.
sweet thing. Well, then they've had an issue with the miners revealing.
Yes.
And it's not the miners, we've been told, it's OpenSea. So there's something wrong with it. You can view your miner. So you can look through the contract on Etherscan and you can pull up your miner and look at your miner. But
Okay.
there were certain miners like mine, like yours,
Mhm.
that still haven't appeared in OpenSea. Like, and yes, people, we've refreshed the metadata. I had somebody
Mhm.
ask me that. Have you tried refreshing the metadata?
Have you
I'm
thought
like,
about this?
oh, I go, I wonder how do I do that? They're like, oh, I'm like, don't tell me how to do it. I'm like, I'm not a noob in the space. I'm like, I minted from contract. Like, like, yeah, I refreshed my metadata and I refreshed the page. Did you do a hard refresh? Yeah, I did that too. Do you want me to turn it off and back on again? Right. But so anyway, this person's on there and they're like, you know, this is crap that none of this is, that these aren't refreshing. They had 3 that weren't refreshing.
hmm
And so they were like, this is, you know, crap that these aren't refreshing, blah, blah, blah.
hmm
And the people are like, listen, we're really, really sorry. It's OpenSea.
hmm
Then they get on there and they're like, well, I'm really mad because all 3 of mine are gray. Like, there's no variety, which happened. They didn't scramble it. So if
Yes.
you bought them in order, you got all the same color. I
Mhm.
didn't buy mine in order and I still got all the same color. So, but they were like, oh, I'm super
Right.
grumpy. You know, does anybody want to do something? And a whole bunch of people, me included, were like, we'll trade you.
Mhm.
You know, we'll trade. We'll give you something else. I was like, I'll trade for your ninja right now. Like, I
Yeah.
have no problems trading for your one of one. But other people got on there too, and they kept badgering the developers.
Okay.
Like, I think you need to go back and re-scramble these. Like right now, after they've already been minted.
And they got a 1 of 1.
And they had a one of one, and they're like, you want us to scramble your one of one? No, just the other ones. I want you to scramble those, and I want it to be visible. And they're like, it doesn't matter. Like, the project isn't about the art. And
Yeah.
this person was like, it's only about the art to me. All I care about is the art. And they're like, we've said from the beginning, it's not about the art. Like,
Mhm.
there is no rarity. There is no, like, yeah, one of ones are cool, but everybody gets the same. It's about the passive income.
Yeah. You're getting paid the same.
Everybody gets paid the same. So it doesn't matter. And they're like, well, it matters to me. And they're like, okay, but we're not going to redo them all. And we're for sure not just going to redo 3 of them.
Yeah.
They got pissed. And so they sold all of their stuff
Good for them.
and they sold their one of one. And everybody watched the one of one because she left the Discord. She was pissed. Everybody was like, why are you mad?
Yeah.
Like, you know, and the
Gets-
person who bought the one of one was like, it's at 0.33. It's at 0.33. I need to get liquid. And everybody was like, we're all getting liquid too. We're getting that one of one. And the one guy got it.
Mhm.
But then he's like, she actually reached out to me, you know, and she didn't seem really bad, more like she had investors backing her and they were unhappy with, you know, how it was going. And I'm
Oh.
like, maybe, but that's dumb. I mean,
Yeah.
like, yay for him. He got the one of one for 0.3. I was thinking about clearing the floor, so I probably wouldn't have bought a one of one. I take that back. If there was a one of one for 0.3, I would have liquidated stuff and bought it. So.
If I would have that ninja was, I do remember seeing it. I didn't realize.
I didn't
that
know it
the
was for
story-
sale. Like, he posted it. He's like, I got it. I'm like, how did you get it? And what I realized is I had missed a whole bunch of posts where they were talking about it. But again, that community is kind of a business community. They
That
own
makes
a
sense.
mining company. And so they don't deal with a lot of bullshit. So this person was like, listen, I care about the art. And they're like, we don't care about the art.
Yeah. We
And they're
told you.
like, go buy from the floor if you want a different one.
Yeah.
They're like, well, you're not being very responsive. And they're like, no. They're like, because you don't make any sense. So we're not being responsive.
Like you could sell yours at the floor and then buy a new one at the floor.
Right. They're like, well, then we'd have gas. And like 5 people are like, we offered to trade you. It's
Mhm.
clearly not about the different ones because you trade us. You don't have to deal with any of that. And a whole bunch of people were
Yeah.
like, we've made offers to you and you've not taken them.
Oh.
So,
Mhm.
you know, they're like, whatever.
That's funny. Yeah, it's you get all sorts of people out there.
But
you
I
know,
like
my
it that they're like, no shit. Like, I like it that they're like, screw you then, which
Yeah.
is funny because I was like, Jason would leave this group. He'd be like, oh, well, you're not being very nice to me. And he'd be like, oh, so sorry, Jason. But you would. You'd be like, you don't give me good feels, so I'm leaving. The 8.1 gives you all the good feels, right? So it's 2 different ways of handling it. And I thoroughly enjoy them both, right? I don't always want to eat cake. And I don't
Mhm.
always want chips.
Mhm. Well, let's talk about and I believe he's now the highest paid photographer in the world. Because I saw he
Let's
made a
talk
post.
about him.
Drifter Shoots released his NFT this last weekend, and I had missed that it was 24 hours at first.
I did not know it was 24 hours. No.
It was a 24 hours to I think it was Friday and Saturday, if I remember correctly. But anyways,
Yeah.
Friday night, I was like, oh crap, I missed that because I was just so busy. I just figured I
Mhm.
missed out.
Yeah.
And then the next day, he's like, quit buying the floor. It's less to mint. You still have so much time left. And this is my segue. The people that I love the most are going to mint drifter shoots for 0.2. They're all the same. I guess there was a couple random ones.
Sure.
So all the same, you could get one other one. And the floor is now 0.1 2 days later.
So I could get in.
You can get two for what I paid for my one. It doesn't make any sense. I think it's awesome. We've talked about it on the show.
Well, I'll tell you why it's awesome and why it makes sense. Drifter shoots this project, and people, this talks about the community we have here.
Mhm.
Literally is written into the contract, meaning it automatically happens. It's not based on somebody's word. It's written into the contract that when he made those sales, it automatically went to a nonprofit to bail out other incarcerated people based on Drifter Shoots' story.
Mhm.
So that's what it's for. So like you are making almost a donation. Just like we talked about this funding businesses like the miners, it's funding a nonprofit organization, which we've seen lots of those out there now.
Mhm. Yeah, because there were, and I don't know exactly how he's doing it, but people were like, I want to see where it's going. He's like, it's not all just going to one place, it's going as it's working. Like,
Mhm.
this is what it's going to be used for. And he's like, why would I make this up?
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
it
it's in the
wasn't like,
contract, I think. I think it's literally in the contract.
okay, so maybe there's something set up already. But
Mhm.
yeah, it was funny. I'm super happy with mine. I'm glad I was willing to pay the 0.2. I didn't think about those people who are going to sell it for half the price 2 days later. I was not even thinking clearly. So
Yeah, and I would still get it. I'm seriously thinking right now, it's my hands are itching to check my wallet to see what I've got in there because I've been playing a lot in looks and everything else. So I've
yeah,
cleaned out my MetaMask pretty well, but I
and
think I still have enough in there.
you can get both of them. Oh, there one just dropped 0.095, and I think I have enough gas for that. Nope, I only have 0.094 in my wallet.
So I could get a Drifter Shoots right now. Stop screwing around, Jer.
Yeah, do it. It's hilarious. You can get him dancing around. It's like a little video of when he got out. He's dancing around.
Yes,
But
in the rain.
yep, most of
Yeah.
them are him on the bridge, the picture of him on the bridge.
Right.
So I think it's awesome. And you know, and that's one of those, like, I only bought one because I wanted one. It doesn't matter if it goes up to, I mean, I guess you never know. If it goes up to 100 ETH and I need that money for some reason, I would maybe sell it. But as of right now, I can't see anything coming up in my life where no matter what the price of that is, whether it's 0 or whether it's 100 ETH, where I would sell it.
Well, and that is interesting because one of the people, I think it was maybe that same person with the rare one,
Mhm.
they were like, no, I want the rare ones because this is all about, the resale, like later on. Like I buy all of these things for later resale. And I'm like, first off, I've seen your wallet. You're buying the wrong shit.
I love looking in people's wallets.
Oh my gosh, it makes me so happy.
Oh my gosh, I'm glad I started when I did.
I'm like, I don't know what you're doing. And second, like as we've been saying all along, we're planning on it going to 0. So
Mhm.
like, what are you talking about? Okay, first day out, Drifter Shoots. That's the one.
Yeah,
0.095 floor. Are you kidding?
that just came up since we started talking about it.
So here's the thing, the floor will drop more.
You're probably right. Are you gonna wait?
I'm trying to decide because look how low it is.
And look at that one, 10.4K and 6.6K owners. A lot
Right.
of people just bought one.
A lot of people just bought one. Right.
And he did it for a full, I guess it was 24 hours. And however many sold in that time was how it was. That's what I had heard. Or maybe there was, or yeah, because that's what I thought that there was a number, but then I had heard that it was however many sold in that time.
That's crazy. Well, and the bridge one is cool. And I've talked about Drifter Shoots a lot, and I love his artwork. Oh, MetaMask gave me a thing, and I was like all worried that it was a phishing thing, but it's saying don't share your recovery phrase or don't share your secret phrase. I'm like, a dir?
Secret phrase with me.
I thought it was asking. I was like, I don't know where I'm
Yeah,
at.
send me your secret phrase.
I was like, I don't know what's going down, but I'm probably not going to send you my secret phrase. So yeah, and Drifter Shoots is built a community, right? I follow him on Twitter. We've talked about him before. One of the Gary V drops was that.
Mhm.
You know, I just think that's like amazing.
Speaking of, I did order my shoes,
Nice.
and I
That's
hope that
super
I have
awesome.
them by VCon. If not, oh well.
I hope you do too. VCon is going to be a good time. It's going to be lit. Again, being with that community is going to make it what's awesome. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I think it'll make it
It's gonna be
awesome.
really interesting. It's gonna be interesting going from something so big and so like that to something so like friends hanging out.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be like so cool. So I'm not buying that. I decided. I
Okay,
think they're going to get down to $100.
think so?
Here's my why.
Hmm.
I'm checking to see what the fees are right
Mm.
now to see. I don't know if it'll show me,
Oh yeah.
but I want to like, what are the royalties and where are they going? Because otherwise, you're literally in a print. So this isn't a one of one or a one of 15 or a one of 100.
Okay, that makes
You're
sense.
you're buying a print, and prints probably aren't worth a $300 print not signed. Maybe they are.
There's 10,000 of them.
Yes, there's 10,000 of them.
Hmm.
And so I think people buy that stuff to help out. They FOMO in, and then I think just like right now, I think it's gonna steadily drop, and then I can pick one up. I think I'd buy it for $100. The funny part is I would have FOMO'd in 2 days ago,
Yeah, that's awesome.
so I would have totally FOMO'd in, and now I'm like, maybe, right? I'm like, yeah, I don't know.
Hmm. So you'll be okay. See, you think through these things. I FOMO'd in.
Right. Well, I try not to think through them, but I try to limit my money so much that I have to. Because
Yeah.
if I had 8 ETH in that MetaMask wallet, I would have already bought it.
Well, my immutable X was way up, so I pulled some mutable X out, and then so I could buy that.
That's smart.
But it
That's
was up.
smart.
It was actually, I think, my only cryptocurrency that was actually up. So it's a good thing.
Yay that it was up.
Uh,
By the way, my miner is still not revealed.
Mine is not either. It's hilarious.
Um, so the one of the things I want to talk about with our communities is I'm in so many discords. I don't know how some people keep up, or if maybe they don't. Maybe they don't keep up, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like people keep up, not me, right? I don't.
Seems like
And one of the ones I checked into recently, and I totally meant to tell you about this, and I forgot, and I need to look at my dates. But I am part of the Zen Academy.
yes.
We've talked about that. And so every once in a while, I'll jump into the page and see what they're talking about. You know, it's got lots of good information. The community's really good with their information, but I just don't have time, right? And I don't have the funds to play with in that realm with NFTs and stuff. And so I'm always like, and I kind of look at his boys and his wife, but I'm not super involved, and I'm barely a voyeur, right?
Okay.
Well, I jump in there and he's like, because he's redesigned his page and stuff, and he's like, hey, I'm offering this class. If you're one of my originals, you can get into this class. We're going to do 2 sessions, and I ignore it. And
Hmm.
then like later on, he sends a post. He's like, hey, just so you know, there's still a few spots available if you want to get in on this. And I was like, I'm going to look at that. And it was like starting in like 2 minutes.
Okay.
And I was like, what? And so I go to the sign up, and either it had already started or I didn't, but I didn't get in, but
Yeah.
I'm in for the second class. The funny part is the charge for being in the class was $400.
Mhm.
but because I was a Genesis,
Nice.
and there were discounts for tons of groups. So tons and tons of groups had discounts of like 20% or 30 or 40. But it
Yeah.
was like, if you're a Genesis holder, free.
Nice.
And
See?
so I think it's next week that
Mhm.
I'm in it. The class he's doing, this one is about developing your own NFT project.
That's cool.
And I'm like, that is really interesting. But again, being part of that community where they're trying to educate you, I think is good.
Yeah.
And so I don't know when it is. I'm hoping it's this weekend, but you know.
And like you said, you just happen to stumble across like that post.
Mhm.
That's awesome.
So I want to tell you that I signed up for it, and we'll get some knowledge out of it, right?
That's
Hopefully
super
he'll
awesome.
do others. The good thing about being in the second one, and he said this, he goes, you probably won't be able to get into the first one, but you get in the second, and we hope that means all the kinks are going to be worked out. So,
Perfect.
I'm like, I hope so too. So
That would be ideal.
that would be nice to not have to deal with kinks.
Hmm.
Kinks are bad. So yeah. Anyway, so yeah, that was another community thing that was good. I'm also part of the VDAO, and
Hmm.
that community seems pretty good, though I never understand what the heck's going on.
Yep.
Right.
And there's something to vote on for that. I need to look at that. I remember it came across my phone today. I didn't vote on it, but I did pay for my shirts. So I'm excited about
Oh,
that.
your shirts. I want to
Hmm.
wear a shirt.
Yep. So maybe they're supposed to be bringing them to VCon. So
Okay.
hopefully they do. We'll have 2 brand new hoodies. The VDOT. Did you see it yet? Did you
Yeah.
click on the picture or anything?
Hmm.
I did actually say that one was for Ballbuster. So
Nice. Nice. You're
mhm.
good. You're a good man. You're a good man.
They were $160 each.
Those are expensive sweatshirts. I'll
So
be
if you want to pay me
excited. So I'm excited to send you the Ethereum. Mm.
No, they were $80. So, and please do not pay me back. I got
I
that out
probably
of the
will pay you
kindness
back.
of my heart. Good.
Probably will pay you back.
Oh no.
Oh, there's a thing that I've been meaning to talk about and I totally forgot. And so those of you who are normal regular listeners, you can stop listening. I had a person recently who is one of our listeners
Mhm.
make a comment about me falling or something. And I was like, I don't fall.
Mhm.
And they're like, ha ha ha. And I'm like, no, that's for real. That's like a thing. And I go, I'll talk about it on the next episode. Right. But like, I'm like, why would you fall?
Like, why would you?
Why would you fall? And so those of you who are new to Kilton and I, we don't really fall. So I think it's weird that people fall. And you're like, no, what do you mean? I fall all the time. Yeah,
Really?
that's not me. Like
Oh
normal
no,
humans.
someone said that they fought that they
I
fall
think
all the
people
time.
do, but like Kilton and I think we can count on one hand the number of times we've fallen in probably the last 25 years. There's
I'd have
that
to count
time you
2
broke
hands.
your elbows when you fell out of the truck.
I would say I might have to count 2 hands because I have some disc golf slips and stuff. I could probably count on there. And I did fall out of the truck and break both of my elbows. But it was a good thing I didn't notice. I didn't notice for a couple of weeks that they're actually broken because I was too busy working,
No, you didn't. You didn't notice they were broken for a long time. Yeah.
which affected my disc golf game seriously.
Yeah. So to our listener who asked the question about falling, yeah, I don't fall. So
No, he
I have fallen. That's not, I have fallen before.
Mhm.
But normally when I do fall, not always, but normally when I fall, it's very awesome and graceful and amazing.
Actually, it's hilarious that we're having this conversation because it must have been 2 weekends ago now, or maybe it was last weekend. Everything gets blended together. I was thinking about one of the times that you fell.
Were you?
Yes, because my friend Matt, his wife Laura, it was Laura's birthday. So
Yes.
Laura, for her birthday party, wanted to play kickball. So they're a little bit younger than we are, but they had all their friends out playing kickball.
Sure, sure.
And I don't know if I talked about this. I don't want to brag, but someone on this podcast was the MVP of both of those games. Not for my team necessarily, but for the other team, because if the ball came close to me, it was bouncing off my hands. It was hilarious. But anyways, and I don't know if it was kickball or if it was softball, but I remember there was the time you were supposed to catch something and your
Yes.
legs, they disappeared. I don't remember.
That was softball. That
Okay.
was softball. At
I was thinking
MSU,
it
we
was
were playing
softball.
on a league.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I
And
was
the
thinking
ball
about
was
that
way up
the
in the
whole
air, and
day.
I was like this. And all of a sudden, I was on the ground.
It was so funny.
Somebody
You were
took
just,
my legs. My legs disappeared.
you were just laying there and the ball landed behind you, of course. So yeah, and that's probably, it was probably bad karma of me thinking of that story, because it was terrible. It was really bad.
I
Matt,
have not thought of that story for a long time, but that is true. Well, and I was thinking when they said that, I was trying to think when. I'm like, there was a time disc golfing, I think at Grand Woods, where I was like trying to go down one of those steep hills, and I lost my feet and actually fell. So, and I fell down the stairs in the old house once. Remember, I dented the wall because I rolled, like I felt myself falling, and so I did a wrestling roll and like rolled and like hit the wall hard, because like a normal human would probably just fall down the stairs, but
Yeah.
like I leapt as soon as I felt myself going. I'm like, this ain't gonna be a fall, and I jumped and rolled like half of a cartwheel, and my butt like hit the wall and like dented it all in. I was like, Amy's like, who does that? Like, like just fall down the damn stairs. You like destroyed the wall.
Fall down like a normal person.
Fall like a normal person. Nope. Screw that.
Oh yeah, I was thinking about that story. I meant to pick on you, but that's awesome.
Yep, it's a good time. So anyway, people, thank you so much for joining us with our talk about communities and communities in the NFT space. Join us again. I'm sure we'll shoot again soon. We are enjoying it. We hope you're getting something out of it. Leave us some comments, subscribe, like, tag, and hopefully we have great news about a bear market and us making boatloads of money. That's the
Bull
goal.
market, you mean?
What
Oh,
did
yeah,
I say?
You make money in a bear market. You're right.
I make money everywhere.
Mhm.
So, all right. Well, thank you for joining us. This is Ballbuster signing off.
That's the Dragon Jerry. Love you all.